masculine energy men always want to make you happy.
Mhm.
Their default is, I want to make you happy. And so if you go to a man and you go to him in a way that is like heavy in emotion
Mhm.
and accusatory, and you make him feel like he did something wrong, he is going to immediately get defensive and he's going to shut down. So, first of all, we want to be sensitive to that. And that's not a bad thing. That's just how they operate. So, the wounded feminine is going to communicate differently than the wounded masculine woman, right? So, the wounded feminine woman is going to be very needy and cry all the time. Why are
Mhm.
you giving me attention? You're not giving me attention. You're not doing this. You're not doing this. Why are you calling and calling all the time? Like very needy and crying and saying, I'm so sad. I'm depressed. Okay. That's not going to work because that is very heavy. And he can't be there because it's annoying, right? I don't want to be a parent to you. You're not a
Yeah.
child. You're acting like a child. Okay, this is a perfect example. So the wounded feminine acts like an 8-year-old child. So that communication doesn't work. The wounded masculine is very mean. The wounded masculine is, did you do this? Did you give the kids a shower? Did you do this last night? You didn't
Mhm.
do this. Why didn't you do this? The kids are like this because of you. You didn't do this. So the wounded masculine woman is very emasculating. So she is very controlling and emasculating. Okay. That is also not going to work. Right.
Yeah.
So the healthy dynamic or healthy communication with a man is understanding, first of all, he wants to make you happy. So if
Yeah.
something is not working out, giving him the benefit of the doubt, always approaching him in that way, and being lighter in your communication with him, and vulnerability. When you move into the assumption that a man wants to make you happy, immediately your dialogue with him is going to be different
Yeah.
because you're not going to come with this presupposition that he did something wrong and he did something wrong to hurt me. You're going to come in with, oh, he probably forgot, or um, maybe he just doesn't know, right?
Yeah.
So for me, for example, my partner, he's not good with words, right? And
Mhm.
I love words.
Yeah.
And like he'll always say, you look beautiful, this or that. And the other day we were watching a video or something of mine. I don't know what we were doing. And he always compliments me. And
Mhm.
this time he didn't. So well, like, babe, you love points. You didn't compliment me. What's going on? I said it like that.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking it, but I want to hear it. And you're like, oh, you always look good. And I was like, babe, I still want to know. And then the way that I will say to him is say, okay, so we were already intimate. We don't need to be intimate again because we're already intimate. Why do we
Yeah.
need to keep being intimate? Because they connect, they think that if I've done something once already, I don't need to keep doing it because you already know. So then I go back to, okay, we've already been intimate. So why do we need to be intimate again? You want to be intimate all the time, right? I want to
Interesting.
hear words all the time, right?
Yeah.
And then he'll go back and say, okay, I'm going to do better with that.
Yeah.
So that's just a simple example of how to communicate with men. And you can also always defer to you. So if you need something in a relationship. So as an example, I need words. My fiance is very action oriented because he's a masculine man, right?
Yeah.
The way that I will communicate that to him is say, babe, I love that you show up for me all the time. I love that. But like, babe, I need words. You got to woo me. It's not the words, it's my vibe. You see how I'm saying it? I'm saying it very lighthearted and playful and jokey, right?
Okay. I was gonna
If I
say.
said it as, yeah, it's the vibe. So if I said it like, Peter, you never compliment me. You just never compliment me. What's wrong with you? I hate that you never compliment me. Or if I say that you never compliment me, oh my God, it's just so annoying. You just never compliment me. Okay. Both of those are not going to work with a masculine man,
Yeah.
right? Because it's like emasculating and it's also a man doesn't want to be a parent to a woman. He wants a partner.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of
Right.
sense. I
And one more thing, I actually just discovered this last night with
Mhm.
him that was so interesting is that because they're very laid back, what I also realized is that the more laid back you are, because when my fiance wants to tell me something, even if it's important, he
Mhm.
says that very relaxed. And
Right.
it goes right here. I don't hear it. I just
Mhm.
don't think it's important. And so like I had said to others, I was like, babe, I defer to you. If you think something is important, you can be assertive with me. I welcome assertiveness, right?
Yeah.
But what I realized with him is that the softer I am, the more it lands with him. The more
Right.
assertive he is with me, the more it lands with me. I
Right.
need assertiveness, he needs softness. So if I go to him assertive, which is
Mhm.
what I do sometimes,
Mhm.
I'm not perfect. I'm
Mm.
not emasculating, I'm not controlling, and I'm not wounded, but sometimes I'll be assertive, right? What I noticed is it doesn't really work, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't work. But the softer I am with him, the more I see that, oh, wow, like he just does it. He just sees that I'm happy and he'll do it. So it's like the opposite approach.
And where's that line before it becomes toxic feminine energy? And the same for males. Where is there the ideal masculine energy? And at what point do you cross that line where it becomes toxic for both?
Okay, that's such a good question. Okay, so for the feminine, so the health, so both energies have both energies within.
Mhm.
So as a empowered feminine, a woman that's in her empowered feminine will have the feminine and the masculine component, right? Without the masculine component in a feminine woman, she becomes very needy, very reliant, and very, this is where the toxicity comes from because she's not able to give space. She doesn't do her own thing, and so she's consistently nagging and being needy to her partner. So this is the unhealthy feminine, right? She's overly emotional. So in
Mhm.
Secret, a book I wrote, Secrets of the Feminine Woman, I talk about I'm reasonable until I'm not. That means that I don't really get triggered. I'm very lighthearted. I can express my emotions. I don't sweat the small stuff, right?
Yeah.
Very reasonable. But if I'm disrespected, if I am taken for granted, if someone plays games with me or anything, if any boundary is crossed,
Mhm.
I am able to use my masculine strength to really create a boundary there. And I will become very unreasonable at that point. So
Right.
unhealthy feminine women or where it becomes toxic is they don't have this masculine energy within them. And so they don't know how to self soothe. They haven't worked on their inner child. They don't know how to relate to their inner world. And so they look for a man to self soothe. They look for a man to take care of their emotional needs. And so they're very emotionally unhealthy. They're very needy. And yeah, and it can become very destructive. That's the unhealthy feminine, I guess I would say, or the wounded feminine. With masculine energy, it's a little bit different. So, with the masculine energy, is what we're seeing in the world. That's the unhealthy masculine energy, is what we're seeing in the world. What people don't understand is that masculine energy is not aggressive. It's
Mhm.
not aggressive, but it's assertive. It's not controlling, but it leads. The
Right.
healthy masculine energy is strong and very loving and very supportive. In fact, it feels like me when I'm teaching. It's just grounded. It's like a grounded, but then you can feel the love component in coming in, right?
Yeah.
There's an assertiveness and a strength, but there's no dominance.
Mm.
So this is where it becomes unhealthy. So what we're seeing in the world is a very unhealthy, toxic masculine when it's controlling, when there's force involved, when there's nitpicking, when there's criticizing, when there's, you have to do this or this, that's where it becomes unhealthy. So, that energy as well, the reason that they're doing that is because there's a lack of confidence there. When you're
Right.
confident, you don't need to force people to see you or to do what you want because the feminine, especially, is really attracted to a confident man,
Of course.
right? So those men that are with like an overcompensation.
How do these characteristics influence the power balance in the relationship, especially with masculine energy men?
Oh, good. Okay, so one person always has to be in the feminine and one person is always going to be in the masculine. So if a woman is exhibiting the masculine characteristics, what will happen with a man is he will automatically go to his feminine. And this is why the relationship feels so bad to him because he will automatically like he will lean back. And so because he will be afraid to rock the boat, he
Yeah.
won't want to deal with the backlash. What he will do is he will, and it's not the healthy feminine. He'll be the wounded feminine then. So he will
Yeah.
not wounded feminine. Let's just say when I say wounded, I say needy. He's not going to be needy. He's going to withdraw. He is going to not ever take action, right?
Yeah.
the unhealthy feminine, words are so important and energy is so important. So I'm always like careful with the words that I use, right? So he won't be the wounded feminine, which is the needy feminine. Masculine men don't go into that. They'll
Mhm.
move into the unhealthy feminine, which is they'll just, they will never take action,
Yeah.
right? They'll never take action because the woman is taking their role. And so it ends up becoming very destructive in a relationship with men because in terms of testosterone, if he's so passive in the relationship, his estrogen is going up and his testosterone is going down. He doesn't feel needed. He doesn't feel good. And he will move more into depression. And I see this in a lot of the men that either come to me or the dynamic with a woman where she'll say to me, he's depressed, he's unhappy, he's not able to perform. And the
Mhm.
reason is that he feels so bad in the relationship and he feels guilt
Yeah.
because there was a woman that she was in a relationship for 15 years with a man and
Yeah.
she was the one that kind of led it and they ended up in this relationship and I think they're in their late 40s or 50 now and he's very unhappy and he has depression and all these things but also he feels guilt. He feels, I want to leave the relationship now. I want to leave, but now I feel guilty that I stayed in this for so long. So,
Yeah.
and a woman, even in this situation that is in a relationship like that with a man, if she doesn't respect his decisions and respect him, and what that looks like is saying, I'm sorry that I did this. I didn't even have any awareness of it. And if you need to leave, then that's okay. That is honoring what his need is, right? What will happen usually for women is they'll be very heavy in their emotion. Well, they'll
Mhm.
make him feel further guilty.
Right.
How could you leave me alone? How could you do this? Or mad or anything like that, which puts guilt on them. And then the man is staying in the dynamic and the dynamic is not working because he's not feeling that connection toward her. So
Yeah.
it's very destructive. So even if a relationship comes together with the unhealthy aspects and a woman leading and all that, it'll never last. And if it is lasting, it's because there's kids involved or there's a
Yeah.
business involved. And a man is not going to abandon his, a man will sacrifice himself for the kids. But if
Yeah.
a feminine woman came into his life somehow, however, unconsciously he would gravitate toward her. There's a need for a man to be with a woman that's in her feminine.